Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Imaging Wire Show. My name is Jake Fishman. I'm the host of the show and the editor of the Imaging Wire, and we have a great episode for you all today. We have Barbara Ruhland from Bayer Radiology. Barbara is a sales leader at Bayer, and she's a great friend of the Imaging Wire, and she has some really cool insights into what's going on in radiology, and I can't wait to share that with all of you. So, Barbara, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's really good to have you here.
Happy to be here.
To start us off, can you share an intro to yourself and what you do at Bayer?
Sure. I am the head of sales at Bayer across the U.S. And so on a daily basis, I'm working with customers and I'm working with our sales teams who work with our customers who are usually the front line of who Bayer thinks or who customers think of as Bayer.
Okay, so here we are. We're really on the cusp of RSNA 2022. Super exciting and also unbelievable that it's been a whole year since the last one. And it was a busy year. And I'm curious, when you think back on this last year, what are some of the major trends and themes that seem to dominate these last 12 months?
Yes. Well, first, if you've been to RSNA before, you know that your feet are probably just starting to feel better from last year. But last year, we were coming out of lockdowns. And so certainly things have changed a lot. And there are certainly a few trends that are different from last year. One of the very first things is a crisper focus on disease state management and the patient's continuum of care. But there's a trend where the customer is also asking us to help them answer the challenges they're facing on a daily basis, especially in the radiology suite. So staffing, efficiency, and cost pressures. Radiologist pressure, burnout. And then, of course, we saw an increase in MR demand overall this year, but especially in the face of the eye-donated contrast challenge. So over the past year, with the increased demand on medical imaging, these particular challenges have really been exacerbated as trends.
So during RSNA, these trends are probably going to be driving a lot of the conversations that you're going to be having.
We certainly will.
How do you expect those conversations to go?
Well, I expect them to go well, of course, because everybody is excited and prepared to engage in those kinds of conversations at RSNA. But in our booth, at the Bayer booth, the conversations we'll be having really align with insights and solutions that we have to address those challenges. And we're going to focus on where we are the strongest because we are experts in the suite. And we think beyond an injector and contrast. What we do in radiology and for patients, it has a ripple effect far beyond the walls of radiology. And so those are the kinds of conversations that we'll be having. And that really helps inform who we bring to the booth, which is going to be a little bit different this year. We're going to be bringing a very robust team centered around our clinical support, our service team. We'll have marketing there, data experts and insights experts. And then, of course, as mentioned, as the head of sales, we'll also have some of those familiar faces across our field teams as well. Interestingly, this is part of what makes Bayer very different is this very robust team that we have. And involving the robust team and the broader team, it helps us go beyond the product perspective, which is, I think, sometimes when people come into the booth where they end up feeling a little bit stuck, is just on looking at products. And through today's lens of innovation, we have to look beyond just what's new. We have to and look beyond just a product. We have to think about how that product or how that solution is delivered. And that's why this team is going to be really critical to the customer engagements and the conversations we're having. So we'll find solutions, we'll deliver on what's needed now around, for example, personalized protocols or optimizing the contrast that is on the top of everyone's mind right now, especially in CT. And then, of course, the efficiencies that we talked about, those are the kinds of conversations we're going to be having versus around a specific product.
I'm going to make you talk about products or at least technology anyway. So obviously, in addition to these people, there will be products and technology. What can we expect to see in that area?
Well, one of the biggest things that's exciting for us right now is we'll be taking a look at our next generation CT technology. We have been waiting to share this with everyone in radiology, and we are thrilled that we're going to be able to do it at RSNA this year. And we're excited to have everyone come take a look at it. So we know that this new CT technology is going to impact those challenges that are pain points for our customers today, but it will also help us address the future of what's critical in radiology and for patients, very much aligned with the theme of RSNA this year. So injector management software, we're going to also feature thinking about how to utilize the data to drive actionable insights to support customer and patient needs. We're also going to be announcing a really big collaboration to expand our offerings on our AI medical imaging platform. It's called Clantic Digital Solutions. And we're going to be focusing across key disease state areas with Clantic. In addition, we'll also have our new medical team at the booth, and they're going to be highlighting new scientific data on an investigational contrast agent. And they're certainly there, speaking of conversations in the booth, that they're certainly there to have a more in-depth focus on education and those disease states that are trends and certainly on our customers' minds as well.
So we talked about kind of the major market trends that are heading into this year and clinical trends that are heading into this year. And then you just talked about these kind of late breaking and emerging technologies that we have coming out. It makes me think about the future and what I guess the current trends might be leading us into. When you look in your crystal ball and think about 3 to 5 years out, what are you expecting for radiology, and how do you expect these trends to continue to evolve?
Yeah, I wish I had a crystal ball that might have helped in a very big lottery everyone might have remembered recently. But the future of radiology, I think that the future of radiology is really thinking differently about the radiologist and about radiology. Our radiologists are not only a service provider, they're a really critical part of that disease state management and continuum of care that I mentioned at the top of our conversation. So the emerging culture change underway is to build more effective bridges between radiology, referring physicians, healthcare leadership, our payers, and then, of course, patients at the center of that. Around patients, patient education is going to be a big impact on the future in radiology. For example, I recently heard that one study found that 40% of patients who required breast imaging, they didn't know that breast radiologists were a part of their care team. Only 14% understood that they were physicians. And so that kind of patient education is extremely critical when we think about empowering patients and being partners in care.
Once again, we are about to head into RSNA, and you've been to a couple of these, and I'm curious if you could share some tips and tricks and advice for the audience to make sure that they make the most out of RSNA this year, learn as much as they can, meet some great people, come back to the organization with some value, and also live to tell about it.
Well, first, please come visit us at our Bayer booth. All you need to do is look up and see the Bayer cross, and I will make sure that we put the booth number that's in the South Hall in the chat below. So please take a look there. But I'm from Minnesota, so the advice that I can give from the 17 years that I've been traveling from Minnesota to Chicago, which is really just about as cold. It's slightly windier in Chicago. So first, stay warm, bring your scarf. Secondly, hydrate. You'll be on your feet all day, and you might not remember if you haven't been in a cold, dry winter before and in dry hotels. It's really important to drink all of that water and make sure that you're well hydrated. And then lastly, this is something that I always think of, and it's about pacing yourself. And I'm not talking about after RSNA dinners and drinks. It's more just about pacing yourself throughout the day. It's important to sit down and relax your feet and just think about making sure that you're investing as much time in yourself and in education as you are in balancing it in visiting with vendors. And then, of course, balancing and pacing yourself on not too much socialization towards the end of RSNA, so you can rest up and get back to your real life.
Excellent advice, and really smart. It's definitely a marathon, right?
It certainly is.
And I really appreciate that insight, and also sharing about the way that the Bayer's going about RSNA this year, and all of the work that you've been doing, and the insights you have about the market and the industry leading into this year. So thank you very much for coming on, sharing all that. Thanks, audience. Thank you for tuning in. And hopefully, I think you got a lot of value out of this. And what I would say is, as you head to RSNA, if these things that Barbara talked about are the things that you're working on and thinking about week in and week out, swing by the Bayer booth, talk with Barbara's team. There's going to be a diverse group of team members there. So, you name it, if you're interested, you're going to have a expert there to listen to you and work with you on that. And I'll see you there too. So have a great RSNA, everybody.
Not to leave with something that you can use tomorrow or the next week in the suite. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.